Hello and welcome. Angela Meiritz-Reid here, Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm making this card, which is for the Global Design project this week. All the products that I've used are available at my online store and will be listed at the end of this video. I've also created a PDF tutorial which is available via my blog, and a link to that is also in the description box. So start with, I've got a basic white card base and I've used the thick A4 paper. Just gives a really good base to your card. And then the next layer I have embossed with this Timber 3D embossing folder, and I've embossed it this way so that the grain is like on a tree trunk. And then next I've added this strip of DSP, which is from the Brights collection. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue along there. And pop it, butt it right up against the edge there. I've already put my dimensionals on ready. And just trim that off there. And I've got in the measurements I've got 2 pieces of twine. So there's this bit here, this is the shorter piece, and this is for going around the bottom, and then I've got a separate piece for the bow. I just found it was a little bit easier to get the bow going in the direction that I wanted. So what I've done is just popped the twine there and just add some tear and tape and ran it along there, and then all I've done is twisted it back like that, just enough to pop a little bit of tear and tape on that side as well. And then run it back along there. I could run it right round. It's just being a bit measly with my twine. So that's there. So just running along the top of that DSP. So I'll just take the backs off on these dimensionals. And then pop that straight down onto the card front. Make sure I get it nice and straight. And then before I do anything else, I'm just going to flick this onto the background. So this is the Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Up marker, which coordinates with the colours I've used. So just flick that onto there. And then next I'm going to colour the image here. So I've got the stamp here and I've got Flirty Flamingo and I've got Green Apple Green, and what I've done is I've started with the green first and just use my dauber, and then I've coloured the stems and just a little bit at the base of the seed pods, just that little bit. You can see where it sort of goes like that, and then just a little bit around the edge of the leaf. So once you've done that, then bring in the Flirty Flamingo, and then I'm just going to pop that on the edges of the seed pod, and then in the middle of the leaf. You sort of just want to go sort of randomly, just to hopefully not get any sort of definite lines. Then you want to just spray just a little bit so that a fine mist goes and just slightly onto your stamp, and then stamp it onto your bit of white cardstock. And there we have it. So it's a little bit, you can see, oopsie, it's got a few splodges, but that's okay. And then we want to fussy cut that. So that is just a little bit painstaking for those of you who don't like fussy cutting, but it's a reasonably easy stamp. Lots of lovely curves to get around, but and it is, well, I do find with colouring with the daubers and adding the fine mist, every time you do it, you get something slightly different. If you don't like fussy cutting, you could choose an image that has coordinating dies. Alternatively, you could stamp it and choose a die shape that it will fit into, so like an oval or a rectangle or something. Would be interesting to time it, I think, to see how long it takes, because I don't think it feels like it's taking a long time sometimes when I'm filming things, but actually I don't think it does really take too long. And I think this stamp, there are lots of different colourways you could do it, especially if you were using autumnal tones. And it is a distinctive stamp, so you could just even one colour and look pretty, because it will automatically give shading to it. You can see I'm not being too particular. I like to think that nobody's going to critique it too much when they receive the card. The little water splodges almost looks like it's just had some the morning dew or a few raindrops on it. So you just need to be careful when you get in here that you don't chop through the fine little stem. I have been known to glue bits and pieces back together when that has happened. Once again, there's a multitude of ways to hide little things that happen, aren't there? Add a few extra embellishments if there's a smudge, or reposition a sentiment. Right, so that is done now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that onto the card. So that is a little less pink than that one, but that's okay. So I'll just pop some of these bigger dimensionals into those tips of those leaves, and then grab my little ones. I even probably need just some half ones just to tuck in to here. Pop those on those little seeds. Yeah, just enough to make sure that it's nice and lifted. I think that should be okay. Take all the backs off those. Sometimes it's hard to tell, isn't it, if you've got all the backs off. I usually pop it on an angle and you can see where it's shiny or not. It's sort of got a slightly different gleam to it. Right, and then just pop that on there, out there I think. And only a couple more things to do now. So the sentiment is one of them. So I've got that hello, and I've got a little bit of card here. Just going to stamp that onto here. That's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. And then I'm going to use this, and this is a die from the Stylish Shapes, and just bring in my little mini trimmer. So what I'm going to do is work out where I want it. So it's a little bit hard sometimes with these fonts to work out what's straight. Sometimes it probably doesn't matter too much when they're on a bit of a jaunty angle. I quite often look on the front of the packet so you can see that what looks straight. So think about there. So I'm just going to pop that in there and run it through. Then what I'm going to do is pop it back to about here, which is where, so it looks even, and then make sure it's nice and straight under there. This is a little bit tricky. You could put some tape on, but if you do it carefully enough, just pop it down there, and then just pop your plate just onto that tiny bit there, and that's all it's going to cut. So we'll, oopsie, just get that moving through, and then it's just going to cut that little end where that top plate is shrunk, and you can see it's just cut that little piece there. So we have got a shortened label. You can do that the other way to extend it out too. It's a slightly different process, but same sort of idea of using them to make them bigger or smaller. So that's going to go there. So I just need my other piece of twine and a glue dot. So let's pop glue dot down there. Tie my bow, get a nice good sized bow which I can trim down later. So just pop that on there, and then the hello is going to go either side of that, and actually I found it was, see, just don't want it to be on that. It needed a couple of dimensionals on top of each other just to give it a good clear lift of the bow. And I'm just going to that down a little bit, and then the last thing to do is I've got these, oh I should look at the bottom to tell you first, For Everything fancy sequins, and they come in the greens, blues and pinks. So, and they all have the little gold sequins in, which I love. So I'm just going to put some little dots on there. Get my Take Your Pick tool, which is my favourite thing, so I can just go in and grab those gold ones, just pop them onto those little dots of glue I've put in. That's the silver one. And that is my card done. So fairly quick and simple, and as you can see, You can get different variations with your colours, and also when you're flicking too, you get a little bit different. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this card, and if you haven't subscribed, please remember to do so, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.